Click on the subscribe button to subscribe to our channel. Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
So very good evening to all of you. I hope you're doing good. First of all, congratulations for taking this plunge to sit for this exam. You know, it will change your life in such a way that you will cherish the years also in which you have either spent or become a civil servant, right? It's just a lifetime experience. So I will be taking the session on how to prepare history and culture, right? How many of you have already started the preparation? Okay, okay, fine, good. So let's start. See, these are the few and the foremost things which you have to do as a ritual whenever one starts their preparation for UPSC. The syllabus, trend analysis, previous year questions, sources. Why the syllabus? Why it is always emphasized by everyone that you have to know the syllabus? So you have all have this experience of sitting for exams, right? So whenever you sit for the exam, what do the first thing? You see the syllabus, right? So this is also an exam where you have to see the syllabus. Don't underemphasize the importance of syllabus, that too if it is given by UPSC. You know, you always feel that anything can come under the sun in this examination. It's not like that. Every word which is given in the syllabus gives you an indication in which direction you have to go. And the moment you start reading the syllabus every day, understand the syllabus, you will understand where to go. You will not feel directionless. So this is the first thing which you have to do. Then the trend analysis or the weightage given to the sections for which you want to start your preparation. Why again? See, so there are multiple things to read upon, right? But then you have to be smart enough to understand which section is given weightage by UPSC to just feel that confidence or to have that confidence, okay, I'm going in the right direction. So if you are starting, this confidence has to be maintained. You are understanding? So when you see the questions of previous years, you are able to relate with them, you feel that confidence. Okay, I'm reading fine, I'm going in the right direction. So this trend analysis is very important. Previous year questions, just like syllabus, you have to see every day. Every day. I'll tell you why I'm saying that. But this is also one of the most important things which you have to maintain, and then the sources which we will be discussing upon. So let's start with the syllabus itself in prelims about history. So this is what the prelim syllabus says. The prelim syllabus, history of India and Indian national movement, right? So as you can see in the syllabus, one phase has been given more importance, which is Indian national movement. History of India includes your ancient, medieval, culture, modern, but then there is another thing which is something called a stage in the history of India. That is Indian national movement, right? You are all understanding? So whenever you will be reading your modern history, this phase is not to be again underemphasized. This has been given a unique importance in the syllabus of UPSC, right? Then just see the weightage. So we are first starting with the prelims. So art and culture, in the last 5 years, there have been 26 questions. Ancient Indian history, 7. Medieval Indian history, 12. Modern Indian history, 38. So which section again to give more importance when one is starting? Modern, then culture, then ancient medieval, right? Again, you have to be very strategic and prioritize your subjects according to the trend analysis, right? So when we come to art and culture, don't assume that it's just not predictable. Even if you will read art and culture, there won't be questions which you will not be able to solve. It's wholly untrue. Why? Because there are sections which every year is being asked by UPSC, right? So don't assume again that themes are not predictable, topics are not predictable, sources even are identifiable. There are particular sources which UPSC is picking, and then you have to do those standard sources, right? Yes, but the nature of questions are having this variability in UPSC. Some year you will get questions on Buddhism very easy, some year you won't, right? Some year you will get questions on paintings very easy, some year you won't, right? So this variability of the nature of questions differ in art and culture, right? So let's pick this topic up. So this is what you have to do. One theme is Buddhism and Jainism. Almost every year there is a question. Every year, right? So in 2018 there was a question on Jainism. There was a question on, again, Jainism and Buddhism in 2017. Then there was again a question on Buddhist or Padmapani Bodhisattva, again related to Buddhism, right? Then in 2016-14, again there were questions, right? So every year consecutively, this section is picked up. So when you are doing this section from your basic sources, which we will discuss, you have to do this section deeper enough from other sources, which I will let you know, right? Similarly, these are the themes which UPSC picks. Now architecture, temples, monuments, so you will be wondering, so there are a whole load of temples in India. Which ones to do first? Every temple? No. The ones which are in either World Heritage List, right? Or the temples which are in news. For example, how to relate your culture with current affairs, because there have been questions asked by UPSC on the basis of current affairs. So this year, which temple is in news? Sabrimala, right? Sabrimala is one temple which celebrates fertility, right? Womanhood, right? Or which debars the women from entering into the temple, right? So you have to do the temples which celebrate fertility. So when you, I don't know how many of you have gone through the editorials, so there have been temples' names flourishing in the editorials which celebrate womanhood, unlike Sabrimala, which devours women because they are in a fertile age, right? So that is how you have to pick and choose from your newspapers those temples' names, right? Now the kind of questions which UPSC ask, either they will ask the state in which those temples are located, if they are located on certain hill or a river flows through it, that becomes more important. So Sabrimala is situated in Kerala, right? Which hills, near which hills? So this is what you have to do. So when you know that Sabrimala is in news, see and dig more information on it. Is there any geography associated with Sabrimala? Is it located on certain plateau, right? Or hill or river? That is what you have to do, right? Similarly, dances and festivals, tribes and their regions, they are also very, very important. Now these questions what UPSC ask are factual in nature. They will not ask you dances from anywhere. Again, there is prioritization done by UPSC. They often ask those dances which are first classical, right? Then if they are there in the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List, right? And then any regional dance which is being promoted, right? Which is again coming in the news. Okay? Just for example, so there was this movie Padmavat, right? So there was a whole lot of controversy on Ghumar. So you should know Ghumar belongs to Rajasthan, right? So that is how you have to relate your culture with current affairs. Now, as I was discussing, I will just show you what kind of questions UPSC has asked. So in 2018, there was a question on Stanakvasi sect. Now, the Stanakvasis are Jain sects. Why they were in news? Because they chanted mantras for world peace. And 5,000 of Stanakvasi sect gathered in Telangana and they chanted this mantra. So the moment you read on such a level these sects name, at least you should know that are they Buddhist sect or are they Jain sects, right? They will not ask a deeper question on the philosophy of Stanakasis, but you should know the Jain philosophy. Understanding similarly, there was this question on Bunny Thani painting in 2017 or 18, right? So why Bunny Thani paintings were in news that year? Because the Kishangarh airport was to be wholly decorated by these Bunny Thani paintings. So if any railway station, any airport is promoting our cultural heritage of any region or state, that cultural tradition becomes important, right? But just see the kind of question UPSC is asking. They are very fundamental. That said, what have they asked? Panithani School of Painting belongs to which school? Right? Right, right. Okay. Similarly, now this is another area which the students find very, very boring and they don't know what to read in medieval Indian history. Yes or no? So I know many people who clear this exam, but they haven't read medieval, right? But what you can do at the max is, again, selective study. There are certain topics which are important even from mains point of view in this section, right? What are those? Your Bhakti Sufi movement, your Vijayanagar Empire, your Mughals, right? So these sections are very, very important from mains point of view and prelims point of view both, right? Now the kind of questions which come from these sections, Bhakti Sufi, then Vijayanagar, Mughals, are the socio-economic history and the terms associated in their administration or cultural life. You're getting, right? So let's just have a look at the questions very quickly. So Bhakti Sufi traditions, there was a question in 2018 where they have asked the contemporaries and the personalities associated with Bhakti Sufi movement, right? Similarly, there was again a question in 2016 about Siddhas and Lingayats in prelims. Then there was again a question in 2015 about Bijak. So who has written Bijak? Kabir, right? So what they have done precisely here is, Bijak is a composition of Saint Dadu Dayal, which is wrong. And just have a look at the second statement as well. Philosophy of Pushti Marg was propounded by Mahadevacharya. So all the statements which UPSC is asking, they are very factual. They're not going that deep in it, right? Very fundamental and on a very superficial and broad level, you can cover these sections, right? Similarly, there was again a question in which contemporaries were asked that who all were there as Bhakti Sufi saints when Babar took over, right? So again, don't underemphasize the chronology part. Now, you don't need to learn the year specifically, but at least have a broad idea that Tyagraj will not be there in 15th or 16th century, but in 18th century, right? Very broad time period, right? This is what at the max you can do in medieval Indian history. So this is how terminology-based questions look like. Banjaras, who are Banjaras, right? Then with respects to economic history, Agrahata refers to, right? So these are all, again, very, very factual questions. So there was again a question, there were terms given, and then it was asked that these terms described which of the following, right? So this section is very, very factual, yet important. At least if someone does not want to do the whole medieval Indian history, focus on these three sections, right? Come to ancient India. Now this ancient India, again, you can be very specific here if someone does not want to do, because as you have seen the trend analysis, emphasis is more given on culture and modern than ancient and medieval, right? But then again, you can specify and list down certain chapters which are very, very important in every subject. Similarly, the social and economic life of ancient India as a topic whole becomes very important. Your Indus Valley civilization, your Ashok Gupt on modern period, Your Sangam period is very, very important. And then specific contributions in medicine, science, mathematics, astronomy. Although there have been questions asked in prelims, but we can still expect this question to be asked in mains. Why? Because you must have often heard our Honorable Prime Minister saying in his Mann Ki Baat that since ancient period we have known surgery, right? Our ancient period has rich sources of medicine, Ayurveda, right? So you can any year expect a question, even in mains, about the contributions of ancient Indian history in mathematics, astronomy, or our medicinal branch, right? Okay. Then come to the main syllabus of this ancient history. This is what it says. Indian culture will cover the salient aspects of art forms, literature, architecture from ancient to modern times. What was written in prelim syllabus? History of India, right? Now when you read the main syllabus, it says, it becomes very specific, the salient features of art forms, literature, architecture from ancient to modern times. Now, how do you interpret this syllabus then? So that means history, what UPSC is asking or telling you to prepare, is in continuous nature. Yes or no? So they are saying from ancient to modern times, you are expected to know the salient features of Indian art forms, your literature, and architecture. So I will just make you see the questions which UPSC has asked. Just bear in mind these words. So the number of questions which UPSC gave in mains from this section ranges from 3 to 4 at the max, right? So when you are preparing for your prelims, I think the kind of questions which UPSC is asking, more or less you will be able to handle if you have very broad idea of the syllabus. For example, now this is what you have to adopt, the temporal approach. Why? Because the syllabus says ancient to modern times, right? Just have a look at the questions. So this was asked in 2018. Safeguarding the Indian art heritage is the need of the moment, comment. So what is the question asking from you? It's a very general question asked in mains, that safeguarding the Indian art heritage is the need of the moment. So indirectly what you have to write? The importance of Indian art heritage and its why do we need to preserve it. Yes? Yes? Second, assess the importance and accounts of Chinese and Arab travelers in the reconstruction of history of India. Third, Bhakti movement received a remarkable reorientation with the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now when you again see the kind of topics they have picked in mains, this is a very general topic, right? Why do we need to even preserve our Indian heritage, right? Will you be able to answer it when you have covered your whole syllabus of Indian art and heritage? Yes? You then understand the importance of art and culture in the Indian history, right? Then how can you even make it more comprehensive, and how newspapers make a very crucial role in building and constructing your answers. So when you read current affairs, you will always be able to know that what are the schemes which are being dedicated to preserve Indian heritage, right? So you can put those schemes over here, right? Then you can also relate your polity with culture. So there is a fundamental duty to preserve the Indian heritage. That itself is a very, very important fact that we need to preserve it, right? So if you make your answers more broad and comprehensive by relating it with every aspect, what the government is doing, what the constitution says, what the individual has to do, you will be able to write a very holistic answer. So this is what UPSC is requiring from you. So this is not an answer which you will be able to read from a book, right? This is cultivation of your personality when you are preparing for UPSC, right? You will expect such questions in every subject, very broad level questions like these. So this is not subject related, but a very broad question. Similarly, if you see the second question, assess the importance of Chinese and Arab travelers. So travelers have always played an important role in reconstructing the Indian history, right? So that is what you are required. Now this question, you can be able to write it from your NCRT. Again, a very general question. Third, Bhakti movement, as I said, Bhakti and Sufi are important. You have to read them, right? Then just have a look again. So art forms, so there was a question on Tandav dance. Literature, literature was mentioned in your syllabus, so there was a question on Sangam literature, specifically socio-economic history. Then your Chola architecture, architecture was mentioned. So what you have to do when you decode the syllabus, so there are broad topics like art forms, architecture, then literature, right? So when you're reading your history books, identify the dynasties or the rulers which have patronized or done more to promote art forms, architecture and literature. By doing that, you will understand which dynasty you have to pay more importance to while reading history. For example, if you're talking about architecture, right? So Chola architecture is very, very important. Gupta phase in all three aspects become very, very important. Why? Even Gupta age is also known as the golden period of Indian culture, right? So Gupta period becomes important, Cholas become important, Sangam period becomes important. So when you do these kind of things by decoding in the format in which UPSC has given you the syllabus, you are then well prepared, right? Now, if you see, in 2016, there was a question. Krishnadev Raya, the king of Vijayanagar, was not only an accomplished scholar himself, but was also a great patron of learning and literature. Why Krishnadev Raya they have picked and dedicated a question? Because he was so significant in that time period, right? So, and he had contributed much in literature and architecture. So when you assess and when you assign that importance of every ruler and dynasty in the fields which is given by UPSC in the syllabus, you are then well prepared. Otherwise, all these questions will look like, ye kyun pooch liya? Right? So you will then have an answer that why these questions have been asked by UPSC. Because Krishnadev Raya has done remarkable things in literature and architecture, right? So what you have to pick again is architecture, literature and art forms, and then decode it and link it with the associated dynasty and the ruler, right? Similarly, there have been questions on Sufi and Bhakti movement. There has been again an open-ended question on urban civilization of Harappan, of Indus Valley, right? There have been questions on Takshila University. So in 2014, the Nalanda University was getting reopened, right? So they have asked the comparison between Takshila and Nalanda University. So again, these are not the things which you will read from any book as such. This is all applied when you have covered the syllabus and when you are reading the newspaper. Right? Similarly, in 2015, there was again an open-ended question. Just read the question. The ancient civilization in Indian subcontinent differed from that of Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Greece in that its culture and traditions have been preserved without a breakdown to the present-day comment. What the question is asking? The question is asking from you that there has been a continuity in Indian culture and traditions unlike Mesopotamia and Greece. Why? How can you say? क्यों इंडियन कल्चर में अभी भी कंटिन्यूटी पाई जाती है अनलाइक इन मेसोपोटामिया एंड ग्रीस व्हाट आर द रीजंस एंड हाउ कैन यू प्रूव द स्टेटमेंट एज करेक्ट और इनकरेक्ट फॉर एग्जांपल dip in holy Ganges still done, rivers are given sacred status, right? Trees are worshipped, rivers are worshipped even till today. That is why we can say our Indian culture is continuing, right? Similarly, like in Indus Valley civilization, we had sewerage system, we had drainage system, there was proper planning of roads. We are following even till today like this. So these are again broad linkages which you have to do when you are reading any topic. अब ये बहुत broad question है. How can you say that Indian culture and traditions are continuous, right? ठीक है? जैसे for example, there are many tribes who their gods are still, मतलब they worship those gods or trees or nature like that. It is continuing. In Greece, for example, in Greece, there was a pyramid. Are they being constructed even till today? Pyramids, are they being constructed? No. But we are following certain rituals. We are building the temples in the same way, the way we had built centuries ago. Nagara style, Dravida style temple architecture is still being followed in construction of temples. This is what you have to write. Okay? Okay, now coming to sources. This is very, very important. You have to start from your old NCERT, class 11th, Ancient India by R.S. Sharma. Then your Medieval India, Satish Chandra. The way I have told you, very selective sections if you want to. If you want to read the whole book, you are free. But target the kind of questions which have been asked by UPSC. Terms, right? Mughals, Bhakti Sufi is what you have to more emphasize upon. Then there is a NCERT called class 11th, Introduction to Indian Art, part 1. This is very, very important for culture. There is again a CCRT website which you can follow for culture. Again, the approach will be very selective, the type of questions being asked by UPSC, right? Then there is an NIOS material, Tamil Nadu history textbooks. Now, these sources are not to be done thoroughly, cover to cover. Again, if you find that in Tamil Nadu history textbooks, the Sangam period or the South Indian history is given more exhaustively, unlike in your old NCERTs, then you can cover that section from this book, right? It's not as if you have to read NIOS material wholly or Tamil Nadu history textbook from 9 to 12th. No, this is not what I'm saying. Yes. So you can have a selective approach, but your NCERTs are not to be missed at all, right? Because they will be providing you the base to understand the history from the very start till the end, right? Now coming to modern Indian history, very, very important. So maximum questions come from this section. Now there are type of questions which are being targeted by UPSC every year in prelims. So there will be a question on act, there will be a question on event, there will be a question on Congress sessions, there will be a question on tribal movements, there will be a question on governor generals, there will be a question on social religious movement, there will be questions on dedicated to one single personality. These are the broad categories of questions given by UPSC in prelims. But don't assume that this is what UPSC asks in prelims. This has also been the broad categories in which UPSC frames their mains question as well. So there can be a question on act, there can be a question on governor generals, there can be a question on dedicated personality. So Mahatma Gandhi has often been asked by UPSC as a personality in several years, right? Social religious movement, there have been questions in the last 5 years. So these are just the broad categories which you have to focus while preparing your modern Indian history. So just have a look again very quickly. So this is how your act-based questions look like. Very factual to statement-based, right? So just see 1858 question. So there is a 3-statement question. What they do is they give a statement which is related to the other act. For example, the 3rd statement says to regulate the East India Company's trade with India. So this act was not intended to regulate the trade of East India Company with India, but 1773 Regulation Act, right? So this is how they do. They just give a statement in between of some other act, right? Now coming to the mains preparation, this is very, very important. Why? Because there has been a year in which in mains, 65 marks of questions were dedicated to modern Indian history, which is huge into 50 marks, right? So when you have got to know that there is a special importance given in prelims as well as in mains to modern Indian history section, you can take a call to start your history section from modern Indian history, right? Again, to feel that confidence and have that feeling, okay, I have done a significant portion of history from prelims and mains point of view. Because again, you will not be delineating this preparation in your way when you are preparing things that, okay, I will focus first on prelims and then on mains. Your prelims and mains preparation is integrated. You cannot write answers till the time you don't have facts. Analysis cannot be drawn without facts, or is it? How can you construct words till the time you don't know ABCD? Right? So it's not as if UPSC is all about analysis. No, UPSC is very bureaucratic. It is about entering into the bureaucratic services, and you know how bureaucracy is. They are only seeing the facts, right? Why they will come up with a scheme? On what basis? Numbers. So when will they open more schools? When they know that this district has less number of schools. So you need to know the facts to draw the analysis. So don't assume that prelims is different and mains is different. Prelims is as much an integral part of your mains preparation, because till the time you don't know anything, you cannot write answers, right? So let's understand the syllabus. The main syllabus of modern Indian history is very interesting. I don't know how many of you have seen the syllabus. How many of you have seen the syllabus? Okay. How many of you know understand the syllabus now? So what you do usually is you just see it. You don't understand it. So let's understand the syllabus. Modern Indian history from about the middle of the 18th century until the present. Significant events, personalities, and issues. What do you understand by this? Can anyone try who has read the syllabus? What do you interpret from these three lines? Modern Indian history from about the middle of the 18th century until the present, significant events, personalities, issues. Yes.
Starting to पहले जो हमारा फ्रीडम फाइटिंग का पहला वो 1857 से 1750 1857 तक
Middle of the 18th century means 1750s.
Yeah.
ठीक है? Until the present, what? Your events, personalities, and issues. Now again a question. History के syllabus में issues? Isn't it a bit different? You all think that history is only about facts. How come UPSC has asked issues and written issues in its syllabus?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, there are certain things which have become issues and they are still persistent in the society.
For example,
Ma'am, for example, discrimination of gender, you can say, or you can say the status of women in the society. It was like.
so one issue from modern Indian history perspective would be status of women, because there have been efforts done by the social religious reformers to elevate the status of the women in modern Indian history, right? But those questions or the issues have still not been resolved. So there was a question on this topic, right? I will also make you see those questions. So don't assume. Then disintegration or sorry, integration of princely states, right? Language, it's still an issue, right? Princely states still an issue, right? So don't assume again that history is all about facts. UPSC is asking questions on issue-based historical events, right? Second part of your syllabus says, again, the freedom struggle, its various stages, important contributors or contributions from different parts of the country. Understand again every word of the syllabus. The stages of freedom of the freedom movement, important contributors, and not even contributors, contributions from different parts of the world, India, right? So don't assume again that they cannot ask anything from, let's say, the contributions from the southern part of India, the northern part of India, the western part of India, the northeastern part of India, right? So they are all very, very important in their own. Every region of India has played a significant contribution in the Indian national movement. They can ask you anything on this. अब आप मुझे बताओ, how many of you have read the syllabus like this? Understood the syllabus like this? How many of you will prepare like this? Now everyone has to prepare like this, right? Try to read and understand the syllabus of every subject which UPSC has given you. You will never feel directionless. Trust me, you will never feel directionless. Those who don't understand the syllabus, they only require buying of books every third day, whichever is coming in the market, right? If you stay fundamental, if you stick to basic books, you will never deviate. And you will always be feeling more confidence in your preparation, right? So this is what you have to do. So every line is what you have to emphasize in the syllabus. Middle of 18th century until the present, significant events, personalities, issues, important stages, contributors and contributions from different parts of the country. Now, just understand the kind of questions. So there was a question on, if you classify the event-based questions in the last 5 years, there was a question on uprising of 1857. This is an event. Battle of Panipat. Why so empire-shaking battles were only fought in Panipat? Again, an event-based question or a reason-based question. Now, issues which I was telling you. Clarify how mid-18th century India was beset with the spectre of a fragmented polity. Fragmented polity, at that point of time, the rise of successor states was an issue, right? Similarly, decline of traditional artisanal industry in colonial India, issue, right? Women questions arose in modern India as a part of 19th century social reform movement. What were the major issues and debates concerning women in that period? An issue-based question. Examine critically the various facets of economic policy of British in India from mid-18th century till present, till independence, right? Again, economic policies in British India was in itself an issue, right? So there have been questions on issues. If you happen to see the personality-based questions, there have been questions on Mahatma Gandhi consecutively. 2015, Mahatma Gandhi and B.R. Ambedkar. Again in 2015, how different would have been the achievement of Mahatma Gandhi in, if he would not have been there in the Indian independence? Highlight the differences in the approach of Subhash Chandra Bose and Mahatma Gandhi. 2013, in many ways, Lord Dalhousie was the founder of modern India. Elaborate. Governor Generals. So there was mention of the word Governor Generals in the syllabus. There is a question, right? So always understand the importance of every word in the syllabus. Again in 2018, this year, there was a question on Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi is very, very important, right? You have to go to Google and search as many important facts and the works he has done from Prelims point of view and build an analysis of how kind of a personality he was, his philosophy in the overall Indian perspective, right? Right? Okay. So this is what you can do in understanding the syllabus and then preparing for history. These are the sources which you can write down. So to begin with, if one is a fresher, they can start with old NCERT, class 12 by Bipin Chandra. Then there is a thicker version of Bipin Chandra in the name of Indian Struggle for Independence. So this is important. Why? Because when you understand history from a broader perspective, it will give you many facts. Then there is Spectrum also. You can use any of these books for your preparation. If someone can learn history by more facts, then they can resort to Spectrum because it is more about facts. If you are a person who wants to learn things by linking it with the story, you can read Indian Struggle for Independence by Bipin Chandra. Then there are certain fringe areas like contributions of different personalities from different parts of the world or specifically women. So there is a book called Shekhar Bandyopadhyay's Plastic to Partition. It has significant chapters on peasant movements, tribal movement. There is a specific chapter called Voices of a Nation. So in this chapter, there are groups given through which he is understanding history and their contribution. So there is a subtopic called women, where you will get names of different women and their contribution. Then there are various movements given, peasant movement, tribal movement, and their significant contribution in the Indian national movement. So for certain fringe areas which you don't get in your NCRT and your Bipin Chandra or Spectrum, you can refer Shekhar Bandyopadhyay. Apart from that, class notes are more than sufficient to cover, right? As you have happened to see the questions, the kind of questions which UPSC is asking, if you have understood whatever is done in the class along with these 2-3 standard textbooks, right, you are safe, right? But I would again reiterate myself that UPSC is all about keeping your eyes and ears open, right? I'll address your questions after what I am talking. So UPSC is all about your eyes and ears being open, because they want civil servants who are alert, right? They don't want those people who are not knowing about things, who cannot relate to things. So when you are starting, you can understand the importance of what position you are vying for. First, you have to understand what roles do civil servants play, what challenges do they face, right? And then understand why you are reading this. In that way, you will be able to have a very smooth journey in your preparation. Yes? Yes, it is a book for both pre and mains. Bipin Chandra is also a book for both pre and mains. You need to know the facts and then just weave those facts into an answer. You have read Spectrum, right? You are reading. So have you gone through the questions? Yes? Okay, just finished. Even if someone has not finished any topic, you can still see the questions of previous years. There are two things which you have to do. Seeing the syllabus every day, because you cannot cover the syllabus. You cannot learn the syllabus by heart, right? You have to see the mains and prelim syllabus every day. Then even if you have not done any section, you still see the questions. It will help you to broaden your perspective, and you will also feel that there are certain questions which even in a general reading, you will be able to solve. This is what you have to do on a daily basis. Every 10 minutes or whenever you are just going to sleep, for 10 minutes just see the questions. एक दिन mains के उठा लो, एक दिन prelims के उठा लो, and just see, right? You will understand how questions are framed. You will also get to know what UPSC expects from you, right? So this is very, very important. Any other person who has any query? Yes. सबसे पहले आपको, अगर आप मॉडर्न इंडियन हिस्ट्री की बात कर रहे हो, सबसे पहले आपको ओल्ड एनसीईआरटी से स्टार्ट इसलिए करना है बिकॉज वो बहुत छोटी बुक है. यू विल बी एबल टू कवर दैट बुक और पूरा मॉडर्न इंडियन हिस्ट्री इन मैक्सिमम 7 days, मैक्सिमम. जब आप पूरी बुक को पढ़ लेते हो, यू गेट एन ओवरव्यू ऑफ हाउ थिंग्स हैव बीन, राइट? हाँ, मतलब एक जनरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग बनती है. अगर आप ये सोचोगे कि मुझे परफेक्शन के टुवर्ड्स जाना है, इफ आई एम डूइंग लेट्स से जलियांवाला बाग, आई नीड टू सॉल्व एवरी डैम क्वेश्चन व्हाट इज आस्क्ड बाय यूपीएससी, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू. जब तक आपको पूरा पर्सपेक्टिव नहीं पता है, एक जनरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू solve the question. So for that, you need to first cover different subjects in very broader way. ठीक है, इसीलिए NCERT इसको suggest किया जाता है for those who are just starting, right? Thereafter it's your call. Either the thicker version of Bipin Chandra, India's Struggle for Independence, or Spectrum. जैसे मैंने बोला, see, everyone has a different kind of personality they have had while preparing for any exam. There are people who are very objective in their nature, and they just The moment they read facts, they can make a story themselves. Some are not. Some need to know the story and then they will understand. So it is all about how you are. If you can relate to more facts and then understand what was it all about, good, you can read Spectrum. For those who need to understand and link it in a story-like format, for those, Indian Struggle for Independence is a good book, right? Or kuch?
How we can prepare a note?
देखो notes अभी मत prepare करो. Why? Because you don't know what is important. Till the time you have done anything, you will not be able to know what is important, what is not, right? Notes आप कब बनाते हो? When you are either forgetting anything or you know that it is important to be noted down. Because if you are starting just now and you start making notes, everything will look like that it is very, very important. Because neither you have gone through UPSC syllabus as such, neither you must have gone through the previous year questions to assess that this section is important or not. So don't make notes. Understand. Build that understanding first. Notes तो आपको ना class और में मिलते ही रहेंगे. Note के पीछे मत अभी भागो, right? Understand and see the questions often, right? और कुछ? Anything else? Anyone who wants to do any other book than this or knows and they want clarification? So there's another book called B.L. Grover, Modern Indian History, right? It is a good book for act-based questions. Now, I am not saying that buy this book, right? If either your friend has it or you get online, it is good for acts. ठीक है, जैसे 1909 Act, 1773 में क्या हुआ था? Those kind of questions can be dealt very well if you have gone through this book and specific chapter. That's it, right? Chalo, all the best then, right? And please have a look at the questions and syllabus on a regular basis, right? Chalo.